Hi, I'm Greg from RVHaulers. We have an opportunity today to compare one of the new smart cars to one of the more traditional ones. We've got a 2016, the black one behind me, and the white one is a 2014, and there's some noticeable differences between the two models. So I'm going to call on Jack Mayer to help us explain the differences between these two smart cars.
I'm ready. All right, what we have here are two smart cars of different years. This is a 2016 Prime, which we just bought a few months ago, and we traded in our 2012 Passion, and over there we have a 2014 Passion. This new body style started in 2016. It does look a little more manly. It's about 4.5 inches wider, but you can see when you look at the front that it's a little more aggressive looking. The major difference between the car is the width and the power. This new car has far more power than my old 2012. It's so much more that it actually is amazing when you drive it. It's only 20 horsepower more. This one has almost 90 horsepower, 89 horsepower, and that one over there has 70 horsepower. But there's a world of difference. This one is turbocharged. It has a brand new transmission with dual clutches, and it's just a far more pleasurable car to drive. It cruises on the highway at highway speeds, even up hills. It never slows down. It comes standard with cruise control, and the cruise control works fine on hills. So I call this a real car. That one was an acceptable car because of the way we utilized it on the truck, but this is a car that I would buy if I had a house and I wasn't living in an RV. So it's really quite a nice car. It's considerably wider inside. We'll take a look inside. So for a bigger guy like me, when you get in, there's just much more width in here. You'd think that only 4 or 5 inches wider total width of the car wouldn't show up that way, but it just feels roomier inside. Also on the passenger side, there's more leg room. There's no longer a battery box at the floor level in the car. It's now up in the front, and that gives you 3 or 4 more inches of leg room, which for somebody that's over 6 feet is significant. The interior is totally different. In fact, the entire car is totally different. I've been told that the only thing that's the same on it is the badge, that 100% of the car has changed. And I can believe it. This is just such a more elegant interior. It's quieter, it rides smoother. It's just all around a better car. It has automatic climate control. As I said, cruise control is standard. It's got buttons on the dash, on the steering wheel for control. This model comes with an upgraded radio, but that's dealer option. You can see the pods changed on the dash. The air conditioning pods as well changed. Some of the things that they changed were not for the better, however. In my opinion, we used to have storage right around the steering column, and we don't really have that any longer. And that was very convenient to use. There is storage over here above the glove box now, which kind of takes its place. It's a great place for putting glasses, sunglasses. There are also dedicated sunglass containers up here on each side of the car. They're convenient, but they're just okay. The lighting is good. It still has a sunroof on all of them, so that's the same. That's pretty much it for the interior. Let's go to the back and we'll take a look at the back. Now the back of this one, you can see the door is the tailgate is quite a bit different. There's a handle. It's very easy to use. You no longer have to grab it on both sides to open it. I can just lift it up like this. Now, one of the things I don't like about this is this space is much smaller on this car. I had to take half the stuff I normally carry out of here. It's just a lot smaller. That's because the tailgate is shorter down. So it makes it easier to get stuff in and out. The other tailgate was a little bit higher. The other thing you'll notice in here is these cars now come with this cover in the back that you can pull out and protect whatever you have back here from prying eyes. That's standard in the cars. It does take up space here though. So for example, if I was to have a box that I have in this car, which fits very nicely in here, this box easily fits in this car. Now if I carry this over to my new car, you'll see that it does not fit. It would fit if I took out the cover, but it just doesn't fit. You can't close it. You can't even come close to closing it. So that's a difference. And that's a difference I don't care for. In this car, we have a subwoofer. It's removable, it comes out. So if you do need to carry extra objects in the back, you can just pull this out before you make your trip. So that's one of the elements that's not as good. One of the things I really do like about the car has to do with the way the wheels and tires are aligned. They're straight in line on this car, one behind the other. So for our purposes, because we take it up on a ramp onto the back of the truck, it makes it much easier. The wheels are not offset from each other. The inner wheel is not set in. So going up a 12-inch ramp, that's important because we now have to drive on and drive off. And that's another major difference. This car does not have the two tie-down points on the back. It only has one right here. There is not a hidden one on the other side. You only have one. You cannot winch from that. This car, you'll see, has two tie points, and that's where we put the bar across that we attach the winch to pull the car up backwards. You cannot do that with this new car. In fact, this new car does not even yet have a hitch available, so you can't put a hitch on it. Some people have built their own hitches, fabricated their own hitches and put them on, and they winch from that. But as of yet, there are no commercial hitches available for it. So what do? We drive it up. Now, with the previous generation of cars, that was a little bit problematic because you had to kind of run at the ramps a little. It just didn't have enough power. With this car, you can stop in the middle of the ramps and consider what you're doing, and it has plenty of power to just keep going. So that part is very nice. It's very safe because the tires are not offset, so you're not towards the edge of the ramp. So I feel very confident driving it up. In fact, we drive it up, we drive it off, we have even backed it off. And that hasn't been really an issue. So when people ask me, how do I get it on and off, drive it. And will you winch it in the future? I will have a winch on my new truck, but I doubt I'll ever use it with this car. I just don't find the need to do it. Perhaps if it was icy out and the ramps were icy, I'd winch it, but for normal circumstances, I'm just gonna drive it. And I don't feel at all nervous about doing it. So that's one of the major differences between the cars. You really have to consider if you're comfortable in driving it up, but once you do it one time, you won't have any issue with it, in my opinion. So let's take a look at this car and see how the interior has changed. When you look at it, you can see it's quite a bit different looking. It's very functional, but it's very basic. And this is one of the higher end versions of this model year. So if I get in it, I have the same amount of leg space, and it's just as comfortable to drive for somebody that's 6'2" like I am. It's a little tighter across the shoulders when somebody's here next to me. As far as the instrumentation goes, this car is a basic instrumented car. It doesn't have a clock up here, and it doesn't have a tachometer up here. That's standard in the new car. As far as controls go, no automatic climate control in this car. So I just set the temperature like in a real car, and it maintains it. On this car, you have to adjust everything yourself. Glove compartment size is about the same, but you'll notice that there's a shelf here, and we use it for certain things. I usually keep my phone here in this car, but look at the space over here by the steering column. There's a lot of space there. We typically kept sunglasses, phones, all kinds of stuff in there. Not available in the new car. So the interior roof is about the same. we usually keep our top shut, so it's really not of much function for us. Same thing with the wipers, automatic headlights, that's all still the same. No cruise control on this car. Actually, this car does have cruise control. So, you know, some people put it on. It was available on certain models of the prior generation car. So that's a basic difference in the interior. Over here, you have considerably less leg room because the batteries are down here behind this floorboard, footwell. Not the case on the newer models. Seats are very comfortable, still heated in the new one. Equally comfortable in the new one as in this one. No real big improvement in the seats because they're pretty much as good as they can get. They're very comfortable seats. The new car cruises exceptionally well. It is very quiet on the road and very comfortable, smooth. This car is more of a sports car ride. The new car is more of a, between a sports car and a Cadillac. It's very comfortable. You don't feel the bumps, you don't feel the ridges on the road, ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk. So you can cruise all day in it. I wouldn't hesitate to take it for a 500-mile drive at all. The other thing is the way the wind is handled. We're currently in Kansas, where it's very, very windy. And when I drove this model year car across Kansas in wind, it was a handful. And I had to slow down to 60 to 65, depending on the wind. This car has electronic stability control. It's a Mercedes, so they have the technology and they put it in this car. When you drive this car in the wind, you barely feel it. I won't say you don't feel it at all, but it doesn't get pushed around the road. Semis passing you don't push you sideways. It's very comfortable to drive. So it's a considerable difference. It makes long distance driving much easier. I can drive this in wind with, you know, one hand on the steering wheel, no problem at all. So that's quite a difference in comfort, long-term driving. The other thing about this car is it turns so much better than the old Smarts. You wouldn't think that's possible, but I'm gonna show you how well it turns. It's amazing. In fact, it's dangerous till you get used to it because you can turn right into things. So we're gonna show you how this works. It's kind of the coolest thing about this car, actually. It is simply amazing. We're going to come out here, and this is a single, double lane road, and I'm just going to whip it around. So it's a true city car. It's really made, one of the faults of the old car in the cities was it turned well, but it didn't turn quite as well as it needed to for tight city parking. This one really does. It turns on a dime. We measured it, it's about a 5-foot radius in the back. Turns back on itself at about 5 feet. You can go right around a median and stay in the same lane. It's just amazing. See what we can do up here. So I know somebody's going to say, well, okay, you turn that one and it turns pretty good, but what about this one? So let's try it with this one, see what it does. First of all, this one doesn't have power steering, and the other one, it's standard now. So I've got it locked over, and I'm way off the road, way off the road. Let's try it again up here. So there's a considerable difference. I've got it locked. So you can see there's an amazing difference in the tightness of the turn of the new car. And that can save you considerable trouble if you're in a tight spot. So I think it's well worth having. So that's the new Smart. Overall, I really like it a lot. As I said before, it's now a real car versus a car that was acceptable to me because I had to carry it on the truck. Now, I would own this car if I had a house and didn't have to carry it in an RV. So I really, really like it. I'm glad we got it.